What's good, family? It's your man, Deshaun Wolf Williams, here with another episode of the Black Vest Money Podcast. I wanted to jump on today, and as you can see, obviously I'm solo, but I wanted to jump on because, man, I've had a lot of questions come in, just asking kind of how I went about getting my first investment property. Um, it's one of those things where I'm in a space where I'm really wanting to again share information. You know what I'm saying? Share the information that I was fortunate enough to have received that has really changed my life and my family's life, man, for the better. So yeah, that's what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanted to just give you a few tips and just attempt to give you a blueprint, right, of just what I did. First off, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Wolf's Mane Beard Care, being one of our amazing sponsors. As you know, I am definitely still Beard Gang University for sure. So as we always say, we are the lifestyle. So special shout out to them, and yeah, let's just get started. Um, yeah, so I was fortunate enough to have come across an individual um, who has become my big homie in the real estate game and in business in general, right? I won't say his name as I know that he hates social media. He hates a lot of public attention and whatnot, which I can't even get mad at him. He's one of those types, man, that likes to be able to go out and have breakfast and stuff like that without people bothering him. So salute to you though, bro. But our relationship started when I was in the banking world. When I was a branch manager at one of the banks that I had worked at in the past. Um, I started off as his banker. Long story short, we built our relationship over close to a year or so prior to us getting into any business on a level with he and I, right? So yeah, we built that relationship, built that trust, and it just one of those things where one conversation led to another. I knew that he had owned a good chunk of real estate within the city of Champaign that we're in. And he knew that I had interest of growing in that arena, and getting into that next phase of business and in life. I had kind of just gotten a grasp on my personal finances and things of that nature. So it was really time. It was time to expound and just grow the business to get to that next level. He proceeded to kind of give me the blueprint on what I needed to do from the business perspective, which I did. I made sure that I had my I went and got my EIN number. Went and ensured that we had everything together as far as my LLC is concerned. Just making sure that I had my I's dotted, my T's crossed, just from the paperwork standpoint. It was one of those things where I had to make sure that that my personal taxes had been filed. There were no issues, and just making sure that we had everything together. As far as the base was concerned. Once I did that, it was pretty much just one of those things where we he showed me the blueprint. As I said, we found we were fortunate enough to have found basically a 2-for-1 in a sense, right? We found a property that we knew the owner was wanting to sell, to get rid of. The owner had moved out of state, and really just hadn't had the energy or the time to do the traveling back and forth to ensure that the work needed to be, there was work that needed to be done, but they didn't want to travel back and forth to have to deal with having tenants and things of that nature. And for them, it was just it was too much of an uphill battle for them to keep it, right. It had become a liability, rather than an asset, for them at that time. So yeah, we ended up, getting in contact with them. We had a couple over the phone conversations with the seller, and they made the trip, this way, just to ensure that we could kind of put a name with a face and the conversations were had. One thing led to another. We were able to go in. We looked at the properties. One of the properties in particular was in pretty bad shape. Had significant mold damage, and it was a bad situation. Was blessed though, by the Most High to have my dad who has 30 plus years in the construction industry, successful years in the construction industry, and obviously me growing up under that umbrella, I knew I know a thing or two as well in regards to the construction realm. So we looked at that at that house with the damage. We looked at it from a different angle than most people would have typically looked at it. We knew that going in that we were going to have to totally gut this particular house down to the studs. We knew that we were going to have to get it treated and everything. We were almost going to be basically starting from scratch, which was okay again because like I said, we knew how to do the work. So it was just going to be one of those things where we were going to have to really put in the sweat equity, right? So long story short, we agreed. We liked the two properties. We knew that it was an opportunity. We knew that it was going to take some work though too, right? So we ended up getting the appraisal done. Now here's the fun part, right? We got an appraisal, and the appraisal that we got done, basically what we did was it's you can get the home appraised for after work is complete, right? So what they would do in that case, so if there's a house that that you see that you're looking at getting in regards to an investment property, right? You get the appraisal based off of the work being completed that hadn't yet been done, but that it will get done. So what's the value after the home is completely renovated? Essentially, that's what we did. Which allowed for us to be able to tap into that equity and ultimately walk away from the closing with the financing needed to do the necessary remodeling. That allowed for us to be able to not only cover the construction that was needed, but also cover the closing costs. And things of that nature, the 20% down, all of that stuff was, pretty much factored into the totals, before we left the closing table. That's one of those things where, I talk about, the information that we didn't know, right? The information that we wouldn't typically have access to. And I was able to receive that information based off of building the relationship that I had built. The episode last week with the homie Kenyatta, that was the title of that episode was Relationship Game, right? And just the importance of being honest, being a stand-up guy and or gal, and just ensuring that that you're trustworthy in the things that you're doing, ensuring that you're solid in your everyday business. Right? Nobody's going to want to do business with you. Nobody's going to want to give you information that's going to help you get to another level if you're not a solid person, if you're not a good-hearted person, right? The one thing that, that my business mentor that he told me was, the only thing that I'm asking, for you in return is that you share the information that I've shared with you to help the next person, right? And that's ultimately what we're doing, right? That's the core of Black Vests in general, is to be what we wish we had over 10 years ago, now. And I'm making it a vow to myself to share information as I continue to learn. Let's be clear, I gave a pretty simple, sounding blueprint, but there's a lot of, ins and outs just within, kind of what I share with you today. That there's some details to that, right? That you'll want to ensure that you are clear on. There's a lot of things just from a legality standpoint that you're going to want to ensure that you are very clear on. But you cross that bridge when you get there, right? first things first, ensure that you have your personal, situation together, and start making the steps necessary to ensure that that your personal credit is in line, and start making those steps to ensure that you have everything together from a business standpoint. Again, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to to own a business until it's time to do the actual leg work that will allow for your business to be successful, right? It's a there is a such thing as hustling backwards, and my hopes is that I can help you know you avoid the unnecessary mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. If nothing else, learn from my mistakes, because let's be clear, I made a lot of mistakes. Specifically in those first two properties. I'll keep it 100 with you. I blew through funding. Just not really knowing how to go about things. Whether it was a lack of know from an estimating standpoint, to just doing things that going the short route instead of the long route, right? You go that short route thinking that you can get this done quicker and cheaper, and then it ends up being way more affordable later on, right? I should have just did it right, solid the first time, rather than trying to skip that step and move to the next step without just ensuring that things were done right. So there's a lot of things that you can do to just make sure that you are setting yourself up for success. And again, that's what I'm wanting to do. So if you like more information, more insight as to the process of us getting to our first two investment properties, let me know. Comment, like, share. Let's just continue to grow, continue to learn. Yeah, as I said, if this is something that you want details on, just let me know, and I am more than happy to share the detailed process, the step-by-step process of what we did to obtain our first two. Now we're a year and some change past our first initial investment property, and we're 4 in now. So the Most High has been amazing. He's been blessing, but with that, we've worked really hard, right? Faith without works is dead, man. So the only thing that comes to a dead man is sleep. So while we're here on earth, we are ensuring that we put in the work, and let's support each other. Let's continue to grow, and let's help each other get to the top. There's plenty out here for everybody. There's enough room out here for everybody. I promise you. We ain't got to cut each other off. We ain't got to, hate on each other. We ain't got to not like each other's, posts. We ain't got to not share each other's posts. That's the least we can do to help each other get to the next level, right? Yeah, as I said, if you want more info, if you want more information, more details on that, shoot me a comment, shoot me a message, let me know. I am more than happy and willing to share this information. And as I said, as always, let's continue to grow together. Sugar Wolf, like best. Peace.